Hey everybody. Well, I got a somewhat different video that I wanted to do this Saturday morning that I kind of have been thinking about doing for a while. So I figured this morning is just as good a time as any. You don't have much going on at the moment. And that is basically I wanted to showcase my current board gaming slash tabletop RPG collection, which isn't much. But all the same, I thought it'd be kind of fun to another one of my interests to really start incorporating into my videos. I'm going to start with like the regular board slash card games that I have. Not really going to do these in any particular order. So, all right. First up is a card game called Boss Monster. Of course, it's got like this whole NES look to it. This is actually the oldest one. It's kind of dirty. This is actually the oldest one I own. Bought this, I believe, I'm wanting to say it was 2016 when I bought this. I was in Florida at the time on vacation with my family, and I bought this Barnes and Nobles. Yeah, I bought this from Barnes and Nobles at the time. And basically, it's just it's a game where it's a dungeon building game where you're the boss monster of a dungeon, and basically up to like 5 rooms, I believe, plus your like the boss room you build throughout the course of the game, and the idea is to attract as many like heroes to your dungeon and kill them, for their souls as you can, and you win in one of two ways. Either you're the last monster standing that hasn't been killed by the heroes, or you're the first person to collect 10 hero souls. One of the two. They have a sequel to this, but I've never picked it up though. Next up is just more of a casual game called Man Bites Dog, and it's just one of those fun, little silly kind of games. Kind of like, I don't know if comparing it to Cards Against Humanity is the best thing, because it's such different tones, such a different tone and game between the two. But the idea here is that you're trying to get like 500 points. The first person to get to that point wins. But basically, the goal is to each turn you're supposed to make like a headline with your cards that it has to make logical sense, in the sense of it has to be like an actual sentence. And each card has a certain amount of points on it, and it's silly fun. Next up is Catan. Not Settlers of Catan, but just like a very, very simple, very basic version of the game. I just picked it up a couple of years back. It was only like $3, so there's that. Next up, this box is kind of torn a little bit. How did that happen? That's unfortunate. But next up is I'm sure a lot of y'all will remember this game. Like the computer game that this is based on, but next up is the Oregon Trail card game. Yeah, the Oregon Trail actually has a card game. Pretty much same basic idea as the old computer games. You're trying to get to like Oregon or wherever, and you're like the wagon master, that sort of thing. Yeah, pretty simple game. Well, not necessarily simple, but one thing about that is with the Oregon Trail card game, it's a very cooperative game that even if like even if you as a player die during the game, like your character dies, even if like at least one person makes it to Oregon, to your destination, you win. But yeah, it's actually very possible that pretty much everybody dies first. tough luck, I guess. And next up is my most recent purchase. And I bought this back in January, and that is a choose your own adventure game based on House of Danger, the book. And this is basically like you can play it by yourself or cooperatively with other people. I actually haven't played this yet, and actually I'll tell you why. Because what I'm actually kind of been wanting to do is I've been giving a lot of thought to playing this, but live streaming it, like, I haven't decided if I want to do it here on my YouTube channel or on Twitch. I'm leaning towards doing it on Twitch, to be honest with you. Maybe uploading it here on my YouTube channel. I thought that would be real fun to do, because I've been, actually for a good while, I've been wanting to try live streaming again. And I thought that would be real fun to do. And I will come back to that idea in a moment. But moving on, is Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game. This is the second edition version. But yeah, as some of y'all may know, I really like Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars person. I was always more of a Star Wars person than I was Star Trek, and I haven't really gotten a chance to play this one either. Unfortunately, I don't know anyone who would be interested in playing, even if I had anyone to ask. Period. And unfortunately, the nearest friendly local game store would be like a 2-hour drive away, so it's kind of hard to get it down there. But it's apparently a real popular game in the competitive board gaming community. Like, they have they're basically competitions all over the place, and not just little local ones, but national competitions, world competition kind of deals. And there are 3 factions in the game. Take maybe 4, depending on how you want to look at it. But basically, the Rebels, the Empire, and Scum and Villainy, which is basically bounty hunters, etc. There's, I guess, if you want to be technical, the First Order and all that. But so anyway, maybe one of these days I can kind of really get into playing that. But anyway, that takes care of the board game, general board games. Next up is the tabletop RPGs that I currently own. First up, the obvious choice. If you know anything about tabletop gaming, you know this game. Basically, Dungeons and Dragons. This is, of course, the Dungeon Master's Guide. I have the Player's Handbook and Monster Manual as well, but I played really one of the only games I've ever played of Dungeons and Dragons, when I was probably 15. I was at a friend's birthday party. It was me and one other person were spending the night with him, and we were playing a game. It was a dungeon crawler type game, and he was a barbarian, and I was a wizard. And we came to this steel door in the dungeon, and so naturally the first thing we do is try to break the door down. He kind of starts attacking it. Physically, I start trying to break it down with my magic, fireballs and all that. And this goes on for a few minutes, and all we succeeded in doing is drawing monsters to us. And after a couple of minutes, I turned to my friend, and I'm like, "Hey, did we ever actually, try opening the door?" And it was so funny because you could kind of see the thought really hitting him when I asked him that. And so our friend turns to the birthday friend here, who was being the DM, and he asks if the door has a handle, and our friend replies, "Yeah, it did." And my friend's like, "Okay, well, we'll try to open the door then, I guess." And my friend kind of walks away a bit to roll the dice a few times, and he comes back, and with like this suppressed grin on his face, and he just excitedly exclaims, "The door opens!" And we just sat there, all three of us just sat there laughing for like a good 5 minutes. It was a memory I've always had with Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, just a fun little memory I've always had. But it's another thing, I really haven't gotten the chance to play a whole lot for reasons, but I feel like between all the classes, I feel like most likely I'm going to be like a paladin player mostly. That's going to be like my main class, if anything. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, yeah. Who doesn't know about Dungeons and Dragons, though, right? Next up is a tabletop RPG that's in a fandom that I actually have always enjoyed, and that is Masks: A New Generation, which is basically just like this superhero themed tabletop RPG where all the characters are like teenage superheroes who are kind of coming into their own and trying to figure out their identities and who they are, and just dealing with life as a teenage superhero and just a teenager in general. I'm in a play-by-post game right now on Discord in this game with Masks, where where my character started out as in the Bull playbook, and at some point, like the DM and I kind of talked it over, and at some point, my character went from the Bull playbook to the Scion playbook, which is basically a character whose parent was or is a supervillain. And that just happened to be my character's backstory. Is my character's father basically, let me put it like this. The Kingpin from Marvel Comics? My character's father basically is this game's world's version of the Kingpin, basically. And however, I kind of thought there was like an interesting comparison between my character's father and another character's father, who happens to be a superhero. Like my character's father is kind of like this, this powerful organized crime boss supervillain. Yet for all intents and purposes, a pretty, loving family man kind of person. He loved his wife a great deal, genuinely. Unfortunately, she passed away a few years before the game. And he genuinely loves his family and everything. But he's just a criminal. Whereas like this other player's character's father was like probably one of the most well-known superheroes in the city. That kind of like the Superman level kind of popularity, I guess. And however, unfortunately, behind the scenes, he was pretty much a jerk. Pretty much abused his wife and his kids, which is one of the characters is his daughter. But kind of interesting little comparison there between our character's parents, which was completely unintentional, I think, starting out. But yeah, Masks. Actually, like whenever and my character that I'm playing right now in that game, I feel like I have an idea of what my next character is going to be. I'm thinking my next character is going to be the Harbinger playbook, and it's going to turn out that she's like the daughter, she's like the daughter of my current character. That's what I was kind of thinking. But anyway, moving on, finally, to the last one that I own. I saw this on Amazon one day, and I knew immediately I had to pick this game up, because this is like one of those games is like right up my alley. Monster of the Week. Where basically this game was inspired heavily by things like Supernatural, the Dresden Files, X-Files, etc. And, excuse me a moment. Mouth is getting dry. And basically it's like, your character, basically it's a very horror, supernatural themed kind of game. Right, the idea is like you're fighting monsters and such, and yeah. I listened to two podcasts actual play podcasts of people playing this, and my favorite one of the two is the Storyteller Squad. But yeah, pretty much though, that's all the board games and tabletop RPGs I currently own. And kind of going back to the live streaming thing for a minute, I'll tell y'all one thing I would love to do at some point is start like an actual play podcast myself. At least maybe either or audio only and live streaming on Twitch. Won't be anytime soon, but that's something I would love to do eventually. But and if I ever did, I hope at least some of you guys would tune in and watch. I mean, if this is your sort of thing, anyway. But anyway, yeah, that is all my gaming collection right now. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Yeah, don't forget to roll 20.